Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de yet another ridiculous financial media article that set me off because apparently for you young people out there, don't worry about retirement because you probably won't ever be able to and you're just supposed to be happy about it. WTF. Well, that's all that I can say. JK, I'll be ranting for just a wee bit longer and destroy this dude's completely silly arguments. Yeah, XenPuck here. Another day not working for the man. And yet out there in the real world, plenty of people want you to be working for the man in one way or another forever. Okay, check out the article linked below. Okay, let me read you the title. Okay, top financial advisor says the notion of retirement is gone. Here's what he thinks people will do instead. I'm going to summarize the article real quick before going to dissect his main points. Okay. The point is basically, we will live, because we will live until we're 110, 120 in the near future. So that means you should expect to work until at least 100, maybe 105 or 110, who knows? Because you'll be healthy enough to work, okay? This is how the traditional notion of retiring at 65 will be gone, because after all, there's no way to live for 50 or 60 years off of retirement income, clearly. Oh, and don't worry about, maybe you won't like the idea of working until you're 100 years old because it'll be easy to make money via the gig economy. We'll all make like 20 to 30 to 50K doing gig economy stuff and be okay. And definitely though, you will need that money. Therefore, the idea of working until 100, aka 10 years before you should die, shouldn't be, something to fear. I don't want to put out a direct quote, okay, from this financial expert. It says, it's not as horrific as it sounds because you're going to want to do that. Yeah, okay, man, I need to really start breaking these bonkers points down right now because I can feel like my face getting madder and madder. Point number one, right? So this idea that just because we're healthy enough to work, therefore we will want to work and we should work. What? I'm healthy enough to work right now, and I choose not to work because I don't have to. I like how this author ignores the fact that the vast majority of workers in this country, in most fields, do not work because they enjoy it, but because they have to live. Instead of trying to find a way so that people would work less over time, I love it, this guy's first argument is simply, well, you should work because you're physically able to. I don't know, does that sound a little slavery-ish to anyone else? Doesn't it? The funny thing is, this guy, whose job is, by the way, leeching off of other people's money by charging a percentage through active management, okay, needs people to never become financially independent, because if they did, well, his blood-sucking business would be out of clients, huh? Or, hey, maybe he's one of the lucky few who absolutely loves his job, right? That may be the case because the author of this article, supposed expert, is the owner of his own financial consulting business, right? I mean, sure, if it's your own company, you might not mind putting in more time to, really leave a legacy, but that's not really applicable to most people, and clearly he actually knows this, which segues into his second ridiculously bad point. Now, that point is, by the way, just because we should expect to work until 100 or 105, probably beyond, doesn't mean that it'll be difficult to make money like it is today. That's the implicit statement, okay? Here's a direct quote again. It's going to be easier than ever to earn a living. You're not going to have to work 40 or 50 hours a week. You're not going to make 100 and 200 grand a year doing it, right? You will be able to supplement income, 20, 30, 40K, working a part-time job on a part-time basis, right? Doing whatever you feel like doing. Seriously, I actually laughed out loud reading this. First of all, he's talking about the midterm future, so not near-term, right? So like I would say in about 3 decades or more, right? Even then, he thinks you won't even break 100K a year, that only 20 to 40K would be enough, when in fact 20 to 40K right now wouldn't be enough to sustain any kind of family unit, okay? And I love how he says, you'll do gig jobs of the type whatever you feel like doing. Wait, what? Has this dude seen what gig jobs dominate right now? Okay, so I hope most of the citizens out there will feel like doing food delivery or driving taxis or shopping for other people's groceries, because that's pretty much the vast majority of gig jobs right now, okay? AKA stuff that's very repetitive and boring that no one would ever dream of doing, okay? I don't want to spend 20 hours a week doing that. I could go on another rant specifically about how gig jobs in general are totally BS and has way higher cost for the worker than a regular job. But I hope you know that already. Gig jobs are the worst, and this guy thinks that that's what everyone else should be doing, by the way. Nope, he doesn't do gig jobs himself. He has his own company. He's just saying, all you plebs, please go pick up my food and drive me places, and keep doing that until you die, please. What a lovely guy, right? Oh, final point, right? I love FIRE, financial independence, retire early, right? So I can't wail on his whole premise that, well, obviously nobody could retire at 65 if they are expected to live until 120, right? That's like 60 years of retirement. Again, a direct quote is, there is no way you're going to be able to afford a life of leisure for 50 or 60 years. Get the fuck out of here. I retired at 38, and I absolutely aim to live at least 50, if not 60 more years. Hell, maybe I'll make it to 110, so 70 more years, okay? The real kicker is that this author is supposed to be a finance guy, so are you telling me that he doesn't understand compound interest and how a portfolio can sustain itself indefinitely? I know he knows, so the fact that he says people can't possibly afford 50 years of retirement is just a lie. Anyone can achieve financial independence, right? The retire early part can be optional, but to say there's no way to afford 50 years of living by not working, wow. I know anyone who says that is just an agent of the system, right? He's so bought in that I can only imagine that his motivation is that he only wants to make sure that other people are always in financial trouble to enrich himself. What a loser. The entire FIRE movement is counterpoint to this guy's ridiculous premise. Anyway, so in conclusion, either this guy's lying through his teeth or he's a moron. You'll notice I never mentioned his name because why would you give any kind of publicity to idiots like this, right? Personally, I think it's the former. It's not easy to run one's own company after all, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But this type of horrifying advice is also the reason why most people in this great country of ours wants to throw up their hands and give up. Alas, I'm here to tell you, nobody has to buy this BS, okay? If you want to work until you're 100, that's totally cool, okay? But only if you love the type of work you're doing. Believe me, it will definitely not be a gig economy job, all right? And hopefully you won't do it because you need money. Working because you want to is much better than working because you must and you have to, right? So let's tighten up the finances right now and get to that sustainable long-term financial independence and prove these experts, like these idiotic authors, wrong, shall we? Cheers, à la prochaine.